Hello. Welcome back, guys, to season 2 of the Reboot Era. It's crazy to think that there's a second season here. You know, if you're new to the podcast, I have an entire first season, and I started this because I was laid off from a company that honestly I didn't really even care for. They just paid me a lot of money to do a job that was pretty easy, and I never thought I'd be laid off. So, season 1 was really me navigating through my layoff. And here we are, gainfully employed again. Round of applause. Thank you. But this is not to gloat. I realized early on when I accepted a job that just because I was off the market, just because I now am working again, doesn't mean that layoffs went away. Doesn't mean that all the voices that were on season 1 are just irrelevant. It doesn't mean it's just done. I think that there's this big conversation that needs to be had. I was part of it last year in 2025. I don't want to stop being a part of it. Layoffs, I think, are a terrible thing. It's like cancer. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter what you do, how loyal you are to a company. It doesn't matter how good your performance is. A layoff has no favorites. Anybody could be impacted by a layoff. And with that, we're here for season 2. So let me catch you guys up. What's happened since season 1 has ended? Well, a few different things. That job that I got by applying to a bunch of jobs with a cool little company that I've been partnering with, we'll talk more about that later. That job has been kicking me in the butt. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I think I forgot how much energy, how much time goes into a full-time job. When you're laid off for 5 or 6 months, you kind of forget about that. When I got there, when I started, I forgot how disassembled, how bad processes can be, how chaotic a company can be when you're used to, working with people who get it, working with people who you've earned trust with, who you've really proven yourself to. You have to start that all over again. And sure, that comes with any new job, but this time I didn't ask for a new job. Now, I will say it's nice to be able to spend way too much money on Chipotle, which is absolutely my guilty pleasure. You can see my picture back here. I can't really figure out how to point to it, but the picture back here of the dogs. It's nice to be able to get them toys and food and take them places and go on trips with them again. This time around, I'm 30. Ugh, crazy. We hate that number, whatever. But I'm 30, and I definitely have put a lot more emphasis on making sure I have a very comfortable reserve in my finances for situations that are out of my control, like a layoff. And I think that that's a huge lesson learned for everyone who listens to this. Sure, if you've been laid off and you're here listening to this because you've been laid off, that doesn't do you any justice today. But when you go and get that job, when you do finally start at that new position, or if you're listening to this and you aren't laid off yet, save that money. Have a reserve, have something that, 6, 12, 18 months of expenses, if it's possible, so that you don't have to worry too much about it when you get here. Here being a layoff, by the way, not here as in my house, because that would be crazy. I want to say thank you quickly to everybody who might give this a watch, everyone who stayed with me in season 1, watched my journey, was part of my journey. It really does take a village. They say raising kids takes a village. I don't have kids, so I don't know. But finding a new job, getting through a layoff, that takes a village for sure. I want to talk about this season. I want to talk about what season 2 is going to be all about, but there's a few more things that I want to cover before we get there. I've moved. Even though you couldn't see on my last podcast, you couldn't see me because I only did audio, my YouTubes will show a different background in my room. I have a new place that I live. I didn't buy a house quite yet, but I'm hoping to at the end of 2026. Fingers crossed, things go well. Let's speak that into fruition. I want to buy a house. I've been line dancing a ton. That was one thing that took the edge off. One thing that I heard from a guy who joined the podcast in season 1 was go find free things in your area. So I did that. I went and found a place where they give free line dancing lessons. It's a bar, so of course there's drinks. I don't drink, but there's drinks, there's food. I would just eat before I went, and it would be an hour and a half, 2 hours of just meeting really cool people who come from all walks of life, who have a shared commonality, which is line dancing. And I've learned to line dance. So it's been really, really fun. I've dragged some of my friends. I've met brand new friends. None of them even knew I was laid off. So it was really this cool vibe, this cool new area where for the first time in almost a year, my layoff didn't matter to these people. They just wanted to meet me and thought I was a good line dancer. Finding your community out there is so important, and you're going to be able to use the people here, talk to the people here, and lean on the people here for your layoff, during your layoff. But finding people who can stick with you once your layoff is over, that are in your community, that are near you, is also equally as important. Now, all of that said, I really think layoffs are here to stay. They're not going anywhere. We're not going to stop laying people off. AI is only getting better or more talked about, more of a fad. Companies are not hiring the way that they used to. The economy is doing crazy things. I would say open a newspaper, but I'm partial to that. But, follow along in current events, figure out what's going on, and you'll kind of start understanding why I'm saying all of these things. Now, I don't want to be too excited about all the things going on in my life. I definitely have gained some weight, as you can see, but we're not here to weight shame. I do just need to get back into the gym. Like I said, work's been crazy. I like being able to say that, but I don't like that I don't have as much time to do this stuff, to make free resources, to talk about things. And I made a very big goal for myself to change that in 2026. I'm really happy that I get to be here having this conversation with people. What is coming in 2026 for the Reboot Era? It's weird to say that. I really didn't think there would be a season 2. I know I kind of left season 1 with a hanger that there would be. I honestly didn't know if I'd still be at the company I'm working at. I've had some interesting up and downs. Ooh, fun fact, little story for everyone. My company that I'm currently working for, which I still refuse to say the name of, they had a layoff. I forget what the exact date was, but when I just remember getting this email. I woke up, I look in my email, and I'm like, oh, they're doing reduction of force. And I'm looking this way because my work computer is on this side of my desk. But, they were like, we're doing this reduction of force of 11%. And my heart's racing. I'm triggered. I'm feeling all of the things I felt or maybe didn't feel the first time in my layoff, the things that came later, the things that I heard other people felt. All of this just came rushing back. It was like PTSD instantly. I was getting messages before I even read the email. I was getting messages from my coworkers being like, Dre, we're so sorry. How are you doing today? How are you dealing with this? I'm sitting here like, did my dog die and I didn't know? I'm looking at my dogs like, are you guys good? And then I finally find the email and I'm like, oh, wow. An instant, immediate response, sadness, scared, PTSD. After the second had passed, pissed, frustrated. Just, I want to storm the Capitol. I don't understand why we have to have layoffs. It doesn't make sense. And if they need to happen, we did something wrong. The position I'm in now, Not that I'm at the table. I definitely don't have a seat at the table. I'm closer to the table than I was before. That's about it. But I fight for people, and I do have a little bit of a voice now that goes a long way when it comes to things like, should we lay people off? Should we move people around in the company? I've always been the guy who I just had to get told what to do. My managers, and I've had quite a few managers, they were not always the greatest. There's 2 or 3 that stand out that have just been amazing managers. But most of the managers, they just don't know how to manage. They are micromanaged the crap out of me, out of others. And I think people originally think, hey, if you're getting micromanaged, it's something you're doing. I disagree fully. I'm doing all the same things that I was at my previous company, but I'm doing them here. And because I don't have a micromanager, because I don't have someone literally breathing down my neck, I'm able to deliver way quicker because I don't have to worry about, being scared that I'm getting pulled off of this and having messages go over here. I think anywhere you go, the point of what I'm trying to say is just show people how great you really are and then log off because we all deserve to go home and have an evening. We all deserve a weekend off. We all deserve a random Tuesday. Just, what's that thing? Treat yourself, right? Just take a random day off and just enjoy life. I feel like we got it all wrong, but I'm digressing. So this layoff triggered me when I heard about it. And immediately, what did I do? I looped in our HR business partner. I looped in some of our senior leaders at my level, and I said, how do we stop this from happening? How do we make sure people feel heard, they feel seen, they don't feel scared? How do we make sure we don't do this again in the future? What needs to be true? And if that means freezing hiring, I'd rather freeze hiring than let people go, Anyways, just know that if you ever work with me again, I'm fighting for you. I'm here. I want to keep you. I never want to get rid of people. I don't like pips. I think pips are such a poor excuse for getting rid of people that you don't like. But again, we're digressing. Let's bring it back. It's nice to see you all again. It's nice to talk about this. It's nice to have a space where I can just chat and just talk. If you've noticed, I have a new hat. I also have a new sweatshirt. The back's really cool. I should stand up and show you, but I'm not going to do that. You'll see it on YouTube. Go watch one of my YouTube videos that come out soon. And I'll show you the sweatshirt. I also have a shirt. But what is this? Why am I wearing this? I think you all know that I'm probably one of the biggest fans of JobHire.ai. And it's not for any reason other than I literally got a job. I got a job. I was doing nothing. I was making TikToks and swimming in my pool. Not my pool, the pool in my apartment complex, let's be super clear. But I was just making TikToks. I was learning the line dance. I was kind of living life. And I was honestly money's going to run out eventually. But I am just going to YOLO this moment in life. And I used and leveraged JobHire.ai to apply to jobs for me. And it was night and day. I got all these really cool interviews. And I ended up picking a company that worked really well. And now I'm in this situation, which maybe one day I'll tell all of you about it. But right now, I'm not ready to talk about it. So with all of that in mind, I do what I try to do best in life and fight for all of you. I wanted a certain percentage off for all of you to be benefiting so that if you did have the money to spend and you wanted to try this, you could get 30% off using my code. But that's not what we have here. What we have here is a giveaway. A free giveaway, and there's not anything you have to do. No purchases necessary, nothing. It's actually pretty easy. All of the terms and conditions are going to be in my LinkedIn post on Wednesday, January 14th. They're also going to be in the show notes of every episode for the 5 weeks that this goes for. So starting January 14th, 2026, going through, I believe it's February 17th or 18th, 2026, every week we're doing a giveaway. I was able to get 50 free 1-month trials for JobHire.ai. And the way it works is you get the price for 1 month, which I believe is $49. Again, look at the details in the post. but I believe it's $49. So you get a $49 credit for 1 month off. Or if you choose to go with the 3-month or the 6-month options, you get $49 credited toward that option that you choose. So if you're thinking 1 month isn't enough time, you could try and buy a 3-month or a 6-month and you get $49 off. But because they guarantee an interview within the first 15 days, I thought that a month is really good and it's fully expensed, right? We're giving that away. So go look at the terms and conditions for how to apply. It's very easy. There's like 3 or 4 steps. You can get your name in the ring a few times, and weekly there will be a drawing for people who get a free month. Now, this does go to people who are laid off. You know, if you're not laid off, ideally you have the expenses to be able to do that. But with that, you can use my code, which will also be in the show notes and in LinkedIn or on LinkedIn, and you can get 30% off. That's just forever. Just use my code when you sign up for it. Now, I'm excited about this because I genuinely believe that JobHire.ai works. It's not a catch-all, right? This tool that we have, and any tool that we have really, it's not going to fix a broken hiring process. It's not going to magically get you a job. But I believe that if it gives you a 5%, a 1% incremental lift and makes your life a little bit easier, it's worth it. If you've been skeptical and you want that free opportunity, definitely follow the rules. It's, again, so easy, so easy. All right. That's fun. There's going to be more about Job Hire in the future, but they gave me this hat and they also gave me this sweatshirt, and I have one in another color as well. So I'm excited about that because I have wanted JobHire.ai swag since like day one. Love swag. Think it's so cool. Anyways, let's talk about season 2, everyone. What are we doing here? What are we going to talk about? I smile because you're going to hear some voices that sound very familiar. There's going to be some appearance guests that come join the podcast in season 2, and they're going to talk about what they've been up to, where they're working. Are the companies worth the hype? What did they learn? I'm just really excited. I'm so glad for those people that they were able to land and find an opportunity. You might hear from some people who haven't necessarily found an opportunity, but they still have more to say. They have a story that they want heard, and I love to have anyone I possibly can on the podcast. Since my time being employed, I say it almost like it's negative, being employed. It's not negative, but I liked helping. I liked being here and doing this. Since my time being employed, since my time from the end of season 1 of the Reboot Era, people have reached out a ton, thanking me, asking me for feedback, asking me to review their resume, asking me questions, asking to be on the podcast. And I was kind of blown away by the amount of support, by the amount of people who have found this. Again, thank you all for sharing. Thank you all for joining and watching. But we're going to have some new people on the podcast and some special guests. I'm not going to bring in Oprah, mainly because that would kind of defeat the purpose of this podcast. When I think about layoffs and I think about who's responsible, who's an expert, let's call them experts, who's an expert at layoffs, CEOs, CFOs, literally managers, like anybody who has the power in management to lay you off, that's an expert. Do I want those people on my podcast? No, with a caveat, okay? If you're a CEO out there or a manager or a leader and you're hiring, I'd love to have you on the podcast. If you're firing, I don't know, go to Call Her Daddy or something, whatever that other, go to some other fatted, popular podcast. I want to keep this real. I want to keep this with my day ones, with my people. You know, being laid off is something that it connects you. You'll always feel connected to somebody. You'll just get it. Look across the room and be like, yeah, I made some of the best friends of my life, weirdly enough, through being laid off, because we all went through a traumatic experience together. And we didn't just work in a place together. We got laid off together. We had to lean on each other. We were there for each other. So tap into those networks, tap into my network, Connect with me if you see this. I'm always open to new connections, friends. If you want to laugh, go over to my TikTok. I've been trying to stick to making more TikToks and YouTube shorts. I want to make people laugh. I feel like laughters are really good. I call it a layoff laugh. It's a really great way to just couple seconds, couple minutes, just laugh, get it out. We all have things that we deal with, right? Make a TikTok yourself. Tell me about it. I'd love to follow you. I'd love to see your content. Make me laugh. I still love to laugh. I'm trying to think of what else there is, you know. I'm going to have an editor. These are going to be edited. So don't come for me if they're bad. Come for my editor. I'll give their contact information. No, I'm just kidding. I won't. Yeah, you know, I think that's it. I think that's all I want to say right now, guys. I hope you like this. We're doing audio and video for season 2. So if you want to be on the podcast, you got to be comfortable being on camera. Just remember that. My dogs are still doing good, just in case you guys are wondering. They are being quiet right now because they're sleeping. And let's see what this second episode, because this is the first episode. Let's see what the second episode is going to be all about. I actually kind of already know, but there's going to be a guest that I hope all of you love. I hope you guys get to meet them, know them, talk to them, connect with them, follow them. If you hear this and you were a guest in season 1, you want to come back, please, 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 please feel free. I would love to have you. If you watched season 1 and you want to be a guest, yes, 1000%, yes. Old coworkers, unless you hated me or I hated you, please don't come back. But all the other ones, please come back. Come talk to me. Give me tea. Let's talk about tea. Anybody have any work tea that they want to talk about? If you're employed and you want to talk about work tea, come on the podcast. I feel like that would be fun. It's a fun little tea corner during season 2. I don't know how long this will go for also. This might end in May. This might end in December. I have no idea how long season 2 is going. We're going until you guys stop watching. So I'll end it with this. I'm very happy to be back. I'm very happy to be making these again. Hopefully I get skinnier over season 2 and not bigger, because I need to stop eating so much and eating my feelings. That's the problem with working from home, but whatever. Bygones are bygones. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for joining. I can't wait for you to see what season 2 has in store for you. And with that, I will see you when the next episode drops. Take care. Look forward to the giveaway. Bye, everyone. Thank you for watching the season 2 kickoff of the Reboot Era.